from the Washington Post, former chief speechwriter for George W. Bush. He wrote a piece in his column today talking about how the government is not watching us. The government is not intruding on our privacy. And let us say hello to Marc right now. Hey, Marc, how are you, sir?
Hey, Steve, how are you?
Sorry for the confusion. My fault totally.
No,
so,
right.
Great piece today in the Washington Post. And so just gave the folks a little background, a little overview of your position. So take it from the top. Why you don't have a big problem with this?
Well, because it's necessary for intelligence gathering. I mean, look, the terrorists are trying to kill us. We need to find out what their plans are. And look, unlike enemies we faced in the past, we can't track. They don't have armies, navies, and air forces, right? So we can't track them by satellite. So there's really only three ways to find the terrorists and find out their plans and stop them from attacking us. One of them is to interrogate them and capture them. We're not doing that anymore under Barack Obama. The other way is to infiltrate them, which is incredibly hard. And one of the big leaks that everybody's all upset about that the Justice Department was investigating the AP was the fact that they exposed a double agent we had recruited in Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula who helped us stop a bomb plot, another second underwear bomb plot. And that guy had to be extracted because of the leak that the AP published. And now everybody's upset that they're looking in the AP's records to find out who leaked that. So if you don't have interrogation and you don't have infiltration, or it's very hard to infiltrate them, even when you do, all you've got is signals intelligence. If we don't have this program, we've got nothing. We have no way to protect this country. So one, it's essential. Second of all, no, Big Brother isn't listening to your phone calls. Big Brother is not reading your emails. In the case of the phone records, in the case of Verizon, the phones, they're only looking at metadata, which is like the phone numbers, who's calling who, for how long, and they're collecting that information. They're not even looking at it. But that's all public information. I mean, the Supreme Court has ruled no one has a right to expect privacy of which number has called which number. So that's different from the content of your phone calls and listening in, where they would have to get a warrant. But they're collecting. What they're doing is they're collecting we always hear you're supposed to connect the dots, right?
Right.
To stop a terrorist attack. What they're doing is they are collecting the field of dots. You can't connect the dots unless you have the field of dots. So they're collecting the field of dots. Your dot does not get touched unless there's a terrorist raid somewhere where we get a phone number of a terrorist, and then we plug it into the field of dots. And then only the dots that are connected to that dot are touched. So if you don't have the field of dots, you can't connect the dots. Nobody's dots are getting touched unless they're talking to a terrorist.
I understand.
So it's not related.
I understand, but I think it was Congressman, the head of the House Intelligence Committee, who said that he understands that people would be asking, can you trust this White House with this information if you are a private citizen, in the wake of what we have learned, what we've been hit over the head with and bombarded with, scandal after scandal from the Justice Department to the IRS, and just in the last couple of weeks. Could you understand how the average person could say, I don't care what it is, I don't trust this government anymore?
Well, I understand. I understand that in terms of the IRS, no question. But look, there's a process here. There was a law that was passed by Congress that authorized this. There's a court the FISA court that has to authorize the collection of any of this information. And then in terms of the internet, it's not even Americans or people on American soil. We're talking about intercepting the communications on social media and the internet of foreign terrorists outside of the United States. Who the heck would have a problem with that? That's what we're supposed to be doing. So, the phone thing is not going to affect anybody that's in the United States. All that stuff is public record anyway, and it could be accessed with a FISA warrant, with a warrant. You have no expectation of privacy when it comes to your communications in terms of who contacts who versus the content of it.
Right.
And they're not looking at it anyway because they're only going to look at people who are connected to a terrorist. And in terms of the NSA program, it's foreign terrorists outside of the United States. So it's not American citizens, and it's not even foreign terrorists inside the United States.
We're talking to Marc Theissen. We're talking
to
Marc Theissen of the Washington Post here on the Steve Malzberg Show. You point out in your column today that what has been revealed is the outward-facing, quote-unquote, authorities of the NSA activities, and you say, thank God, that the inward-facing. What make that distinction, outward-facing and inward-facing? And you say, thank God, the terrorists don't have the inward-facing information.
Sure. Well, I mean, outward-facing means The FISA court orders Verizon to hand over certain records. The FISA court authorizes the NSA to look at certain internet records. What these providers are required to provide to the government. That's the outward-facing orders. There's also, which has not been leaked because it doesn't benefit the objectives of the leaker, the inward-facing orders from the FISA court, which is saying to the federal government, to officials and analysts, here's what you can do with this data. Here's how you can look at it. Here's what you can't look at. And there are very, very strict rules imposed by judges on what can be done in terms of looking at the data that is being collected and tapping into that data. That stuff has not been leaked. And thank God it hasn't been leaked, because we don't want the terrorists to know what the restrictions are. Because if you give them the restrictions, then they know how to get around them. So just the fact, for example, that we've listed that the slides came out listing the names of the companies that are cooperating with the NSA, we've now given the terrorists a list of companies that are cooperating with us. That's incredibly damaging to our national security. The last thing we want to do, though it would reassure Americans about the restrictions on this program, is tell the terrorists what the restrictions are. If you know about them, that means that Al-Qaeda knows about it. It means Zawahiri knows about it.
Right.
So we don't want to share that information with the enemy, because all of this gives them a playbook to avoid detection, which allows them to carry out terrorist attacks.
All right, now let's talk about the leaker, Edward Snowden. Many on the left, and I mentioned all day that both Glenn Beck and Michael Moore have both referred to Edward Snowden as a hero. To me, no matter what you think of the programs, whether you think they're great or you think they're horrific and they need to stop, there's no way you make a hero out of a man who swears to uphold the national security and the information he's working with, is put in that position, and then takes it upon himself because he believes, I believe, that the public should know about this, and then releases classified information. He should be rounded up somewhere, wherever the heck he is now, and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
He's an admitted felon. It's what he is. It is a felony to take classified information, and particularly signals intelligence, which is treated specially under the law, differently from other classified information. It is a felony, punishable by up to 10 years or more in jail, to share that kind of information with the public. First of all, to publish it, so the newspapers that have published it have also committed a felony, arguably. And then on top of that, if you read the Washington Post story today about the communications with this guy, he actually asked the Washington Post reporter to embed a cryptographic fingerprint in the slides, so that if he could prove to a foreign government that he was the source of the leaks. So that means this guy is cooperating. We don't know which one, possibly China, because he's hiding out in Hong Kong, that he is cooperating with a foreign government. This man is not a hero. Nobody on the right should call this man a hero. He is a felon. He is a criminal who has endangered the lives of American citizens and made it easier for Al-Qaeda to carry out terrorist attacks on them.
Right, and you bring up an interesting point. You know, they say he's probably not in Hong Kong anymore. At least he's not in that hotel. But when he was talking yesterday, he was basically defending not only Hong Kong but also defending China. How, it's only certain parts of the country where you can't get internet. No, it's not so bad and all. But I mean, here's a guy who's talking about he's appalled by what's going on by our government against its citizens, and in any way, shape, or form to be able to defend China at all. I mean, you talk about hypocrisy and contradiction.
He's hiding under the wing of Big Brother and accusing us of being Big Brother. I mean, that's it right there and there. And here's the thing. If he was really a whistleblower, if he was really a hero, let him show one scintilla of evidence
that it was abused.
Anyone in the NSA has abused this power in any way. Because having the existence of the program should not outrage anybody. The only thing that should be outrageous is if someone provided information or that would make him a whistleblower. If he had some proof that, like he said, for example, that I can read anybody's emails through this program. If he did that, that would be a crime.
Right.
Show me any evidence that anybody at the NSA has done that.
Right. He was
then you're talking about whistleblowing. Otherwise, he's just a felon and a Julian Assange wannabe who ought to be sitting behind bars in the United States of America.
Very well said, my friend. And I thank you as always for your time. Great to have you on the new show. And everybody check out WashingtonPost.com and Marc Theissen's